Dear friends, welcome to Holy Trinity DMIT Academy. Please subscribe my channel and press on the bell icon so that you will get notifications on my new videos. Let me first quote Henry Brooks Adams. They know enough who know how to learn. I repeat, they know enough who know how to learn. In this video of study skills, we are learning to learn. Let me ask a few driving questions to all my young learners. Is study a thrilling experience for you, or is it a killing experience? Do you feel that you don't retain what you learn for long? Do you want to systemize your study and hence maximize your retention? So these are some techniques that help you to transform your study kill experience to study thrill experience. How to double your memory scientifically? In today's cutthroat competition, students spend most of the time in studies, despite that they do not get the desired results. Why? There are a few reasons for this. One is failure to remember information. Number 2, incorrect recall. Number 3, inability to concentrate. And number 4, ever-increasing syllabi. A research on capacity of the brain disclosed the following facts. According to these experiments, they say that our brain can store up to 2 quintillion bits of information. That is 2 followed by 18 zeros. It is equal to mastering 40 languages. It is equal to memorizing a complete encyclopedia and doing graduation from dozens of universities. The problem with us is not the capacity of our brain, but our inability to manage that limitless capacity. Let's see, is there a solution for using this capacity? Scientists say we can compare our brain with a disorganized library, which has all kind of collection of books with no catalog or systematic arrangement, making the search for a particular book very difficult and sometimes impossible. The need of the hour is to build up a mental catalog for our brain, which can help us learn everything very fast, improve our power of retention, and help in fast and correct recollection. So this technique is known as synesthetic power. Or we can compare it like this, or we can make an analogy like this. Just as an office worker needs a filing system, you need a mental filing system if you have to comprehend and retrieve what you have learned. The human brain appears to be able to hold only 7 chunks of information in immediate memory. So breaking up materials into categories will help you to remember. Let us see what is this synesthetic power. It is the inbuilt ability of our brain to receive particular information simultaneously through all the senses of our body and store it in a systematic manner by forming a kind of mental catalog so as to make the remembering process 100 times more efficient. Now the question is, can we develop this synesthetic power? In fact, we are all born with this power, but only a few can realize it, and a few are able to use it. So what we need to do is direct this power in the formation of mental cataloging system, which can help us in our academic learning. So let us see the first set of methods or techniques that you could use in your studies to make the study effective. Or let us see the effective study skill techniques. Number 1, use the I factor. How to develop interest in a subject that seems boring, or how to develop concentration. We all know that when we watch a favorite movie or a film, we are able to concentrate for 3 hours. we hardly realize who is sitting next to us. However, while studying, especially a lengthy subject, we feel distracted by the slightest noise, the faintest whisper, even the most distant sound of music. So concentration, it is nothing but the extent of interest and involvement in a subject. So we can formulate an equation like this: learning into concentration into interest. That the amount of learning depends upon the amount of concentration, which is depend on the intensity of interest. Imagine that you are given a photograph of last week's party which you attended. What will you search in the photograph? The answer is simple: yes, you will search for yourself. We engage ourselves with I or something associated with I most of the time. So learning is faster when we associate ourselves I with it. So that is, you involve yourself in the study so you can easily retain and recall information or retrieve information very quickly. Number 2 is studying better during study leaves. So first of all, let me ask you a few questions. Imagine that you are going to appear for an examination after 6 days and you have 5 equally difficult subjects to study. Which one of these methods you will opt for? Method number 1, studying one subject each day for 5 days and finally revising all the 5 subjects on the 6th day. Second method is studying more than one subject each day, for example, combination of maths, English, management, etc. for 2 hours each. Let us analyze and find out answer for these questions. So when we study a particular subject, say mathematics, a particular part of the brain is more active than the rest of the brain. When we focus on English, the other part of the brain gets activated and the part concentrating on maths is put to rest. By changing a subject frequently, we allow our brain to feel refreshed and prevent ourselves from tiring out. So what we can conclude here, or the conclusion here is, if we concentrate on one subject a day, we stress one part of the brain a lot. So this brings inefficiency and undesirable effects. Instead, we must concentrate on the combination of subjects. That is, after studying maths for 2 hours, you switch to English, then after a short break, shift to Malayalam, and so on. So combination of justice, that is the second technique that you can use for studying better. Number 3 is revision. Let us first accept the fact that revision is extremely important for learning. For better results, let us learn how to use scientific revision method. Suppose you take nearly 2 hours to memorize a particular topic thoroughly. When should you revise it? When should you revise it? The first revision should be done by the end of the 24 hours. On an average, the brain is able to retain information up to 80 to 100% only for 24 hours. The forgetting cycle speeds up by the end of 24 hours. Hence, the first revision must be done by the end of 24 hours of learning. Once the information has been revised after 24 hours, the brain has capacity to hold it approximately for next 7 days. Then the forgetting cycle once again becomes faster. So next revision must be after 7 days. So once you have done, that is why we stress on weekend revisions. So if you are carrying out the weekend revision, definitely you can retain this information for 1 year or more than 1 year or for a longer period of time. So interestingly, if you follow these 2 periods, your revision time will be only 10% of your total learning time. That is, you will require only 12 minutes to revise the entire information. That is, you need to follow the principle of 24 by 7 days. We know that forgetting is a natural process with the greatest losses occurring within the first 24 hours of learning. After one day, you will forget 46% of what you read, what you read. 79% after 14 days, and 81% after 28 days. So clearly, it is essential to review reading and lecture notes within 1 or 2 days of initial exposure with brief additional reviews. So repetition, that is the secret behind permanent retention of what we study. You can retain 10% of what you read. You retain 20% of what you listen. You can retain 30% of what you see. You can retain 50% of what you listen and see. You retain 60% of what you discuss. You retain 70% of what you express or involve, as in drama. You retain 80% of what you practice. You retain 100% of what you do on your own, or teach or research. Next is break work. Do we need to take break during long hours of learning? Definitely, you need to take a break. A planned series of learning during a study period increases the probability of a recall. A break after every 40 minutes, that is optimum, and each break could be about 10 minutes. Moreover, a break should be a complete rest from the kind of work being done. That means, if you studied Malayalam for 1 hour or for 40 minutes, then if you want to take a break of 10 minutes, during the break time, you should not read the Malayalam newspaper. So that may create some difficulty for your recall. Because it may result, if not done, too many competing and interfering associations are formed, and that may confuse your memory track laid down in that study period. So during the break, you can either listen to music, or you can go for a short walk, or do some breathing exercise to relax and rejuvenate yourself. So most study is best done with the short sessions with breaks. So that is why in schools we are following a timetable with 45 minutes. That is, we follow different periods, nearly 7 to 8 hours, 8 periods in schools with 45 minutes. That is, we set the timetable with 45 minutes. That is one of the major reasons, because a student cannot focus learning not more than 45 minutes. That is, the attention span of the student is only 45 minutes. Maximum of 45 minutes. So that is why in schools we follow a regular timetable with 45 minutes of each subject. So 45 minutes, 10 minutes break. That is the rule. That is, you need to take rest during your long hours of study. Next method is self-suggestion. So how effective are the various memory enhancement pills? We see a lot of advertisements. There are a lot of memory enhancement pills are available in the market right now. Will that help, or are they effective in enhancing our studies? So it is these kind of pills won't help you in your studies. It is the conviction, it's the confidence and faith in oneself that helps a person to perform better. So my suggestion is, as Ford said, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you are right. So always try to give auto suggestions like, I can do it, I can do it, I can study better. This kind of auto suggestions will help you to improve your studies. Next is imagination. That is another perfect retention method. You need to utilize your power of imagination in learning. That is, you need to visualize. You need to visualize. So visualization, that is one method of learning. Half of the brain thinks in words and other half in pictures. Use both parts of the brain. Study the pictures, diagrams and charts in your text, and develop your own charts and pictures. Visualize the information. For example, if you want to remember Lincoln's birthday, visualize a log cabin. Visualize a log cabin with 80 North 1809 carved above the door. So that way you can easily retain. That is, visualization will help you to retain information. So draw charts, graphs, etc. to retain information. Try to convert whatever you read into a picture and visualize it. Our eye memory is 20 times stronger than our ears. So nerves that connect eyes to brain is more strong than the ears. So visualization method can be used in subjects like history, civics, management, etc. So you need to develop or you need to paint a mental picture, that is mental image or visualization is another method for learning faster. Next method is or next technique is acronyms and mnemonics and acrostics. So the shortest way to learn, this is a shortest way to learn things. So let's see what is acronym. It is an invented combination of letters. Each letter is a cue to an idea you need to remember. For example, COPS, COPS, to remember proofreading strategies. So COPS stands for capitalization, organization, punctuation and spelling. So these are the 4 things that is needed for proofreading. Another best example is the Bodmer's principle or rule that we use in mathematics, which help us to remember the order in which the mathematical operations to be considered. So thus we have bracket open, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, etc. Another acronym or mnemonics is BRASS. BRASS is another acronym for how to shoot using a rifle. For example, breathe, rifle. BRASS stands for breathe, relax, aim, sight, squeeze, etc. So that is one method of learning, creating or inventing your own acronyms. Next is acrostic is another technique, that is another shortest way to learn. So acrostic is an invented sentence where the first letter of each word is a cue to an idea you need to remember. For example, "Oh my good apples" is an acrostic to remember the dicarbolic acid in organic chemistry in order. O stands for oxalic acid, Mi stands for malanoic acids, succinic good apples, succinic acids, glutaric acids and adipic acid. So this is an acrostic that can be used to remember the dicarbolic acids in organic chemistry. Reintegration process for recall. So we know that brain can recollect information more effectively when we are placed in the same environment. This process is called reintegration. For example, if you are unable to recall a particular answer at the time of an examination, you can use this technique. Take a deep breath deeply and do not be panicked. Concentrate mentally and retrace your steps to either to your study table or to the library or wherever you learned the material. Further, visualize yourself as opening the pages of the book. Try to read the page in your mind. It should not take more than 10 seconds or so to complete this imaginary reintegration process. That is, if you are taken to the same environment, you can easily retrieve or recall the answer. So my suggestion is revisiting. That is another technique for learning or to recall answers in the examination hall. So with this, I stop my first set of study techniques. The second set of study methods that is coming soon. So thank you all. Wait for the second sets of study skills.